All right, everyone, welcome to All Women Driven, the podcast all about women in automotive and how they got to where they are today. I am your host, Sarah Davis. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify under All Women Driven or on Instagram under Beauty Mama Bear. You can also find me on the Long MacArthur YouTube channel and podcast. I'm over there on Tuesday nights and occasionally spread throughout some other videos on there. Uh, don't forget to like and share where you're listening. It's the easiest and best way to support me as a content creator and this channel. If you like my channel, you should also go check out the Long MacArthur channel. Over there, we have all things Ford news and information, Tuesday night live streams where we answer questions live. All things Ford are welcome. We also have the Ford Video Guide channel. That is Tim's personal channel where he talks about all of the modifications he's doing to his Bronco and his previous vehicles as well. Some other channels to check out would be All Train Nation, Ali Dubois, RagnarCon, and many more. Find them down below where you can also find all the links and information from this video. So this year, we're going to do something new. So each week last year, I would have someone come in for an interview. And that is a lot of fun. And I'm still going to be doing that this year. But in between those, I'm also going to do episodes about women in history that I can't necessarily get in for an interview. They've passed away. They're, of course, women from history that have created a significant impact on the automotive industry and should be talked about. All right, guys. So this week we have Margaret Wilcox, born in 1838, died March 30th of 1912. She was an American engineer and inventor, known for her late 19th century discoveries, and most notably the train car heating system, which is the foundation for modern day heating in automobiles and transportation. So let's get into her. So when she was born in 1838 in Chicago, Illinois, not much is known about her early life, which is usual and typical for women of this era. They were usually overshadowed by male counterparts. And something that I found out researching this is that patents, women weren't allowed to hold a patent early on. And so she wasn't able to get a patent in her name until 1893, when she was able to successfully patent her design under her name. Everything else was patented under her husband's name, which makes you think how many patents are out there under a man's name when they were originally made by a woman. Makes you think, really, truly. So a lot of her early inventions were for to help women in their domestic roles in the home, and how to help and make things easier. And so she has a lot of inventions that are, combine cooking and water heating stove designs to help save fuel efficiency, utilizing the wasted heat of the stove. One of her earlier ideas is a combination of clothes and dishwasher machine. That would be nice instead of having two machines in my house, only one. I mean, why didn't this catch on? But she's most notably known for her railway invention. So in her 20s, she experienced how cold the railway cars could get in Chicago in the winters. Trains didn't have insulation or a way to heat the cabins, so she started experimenting with the idea of harnessing the engine's residual heat and directing the warm air from the internal combustion engines back to the passenger compartments. Now, there is a problem with that. There's no temperature control. So people were not a fan of this at first because if you can think about it, an engine can get hotter and hotter and hotter to the point where it's almost overheating, and you could overheat those cabins because that air is just going to keep getting hotter and hotter as you're going through the day. And so it wasn't originally favored, but once they got the temperature control figured out, it's become the base for everything now. So when her invention eventually made it over to automobiles. It was, although made for rail cars, it was successfully applied to automobiles, but not until 1929. So if you think back, she died in 1912. Her invention was not implemented successfully into automobiles until after she passed. But when cars were first introduced, they were open air. And then enclosed cars came to the market in 1910. Their heating systems weren't very noticeable. They didn't have a really good one to make getting into the car versus being outside, a real difference. Which is so funny that, first cars were basically open air, and now you pay extra for a convertible, which would be an open air vehicle. Anyway, so it wasn't until Ford implemented the idea in 1929 that car cabins actually had a difference in temperature to what was going on outside. And so today, car heaters work by using hot coolant from the engine that flows through a tube, and air blows over the tube to warm it up, which then flows into the other cabins. So from my knowledge, which is very little of engineering, it sounds like they have taken that initial idea, made a couple of adjustments, especially to get that temperature control in there. And that's what's used as a base for heating systems in transportation. And so, like I said, in 1893, she was successful in patenting this design under her own name. Since, again, women weren't allowed to hold patents at that time. So although most of her inventions were not commercially successful, they did demonstrate her innovative approach to solving everyday problems, and trying to fix problems that women or people were having in their everyday homes and their lives, trying to help, bring some of that ease to their lives. Her heating technology was the forerunner in modern in-vehicle climate control systems, which are now spread throughout everything: trains, trucks, cars, planes, you name it. In transportation, it probably has a base from her design. Over the years, she had made various improvements to her original design, including temperature regulation elements, and her efforts are now seen as crucial to the development of vehicle comfort, improving not only passenger convenience, but also worldwide supply chain by being essential in the transfer of commodities that are sensitive to temperature. So, by her inventing a railway car heating system, we are now able to transport goods that either need heat or, ice boxes that, we need to move stuff that needs to stay frozen or whatnot. So, her patent for or her invention has caused the automotive world a great deal of comfort, and actually has helped with the ease of travel in the wintertime. So without her, we wouldn't have heating in our car, or well, we would have heating in the cars, but maybe not as successfully as we do today. So thank you, Margaret Wilcox, for your invention. And to push forward in a time when women were not fairly seen, and when women were not able to necessarily be in those roles easily. And, I'm glad that she got her patent in her name eventually, because otherwise we may not have known that she did that. Although there's not much out there about her story. Most of my information came from a couple of articles written. And so, I don't really know much about her early life or what it was like for her. But from what I've seen, engineers, that world was hard to get into, and she was a woman. So it was even harder for her. So thank you, Margaret, again, for bringing us comfort when we travel in the winter. And yeah, so join me next week. Next week, we have something big coming from Ford. We don't know about it yet, but I will be covering it on this channel. I'll probably have a couple of different episodes come out next week, depending on what's going on. Might have a couple of videos. So I will see you next time. Join me again for another wonderful episode of All Women Driven, where we are looking into the past to drive women forward in automotive, and in the future, as we go about this. I'm really excited about this new series that I'm going through, and bringing you women from history. So yeah. All right, guys. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye.